We begin tonight with a Valley News Live exclusive. A South Fargo daycare provider has recently been shut down after being charged with child neglect. According to court documents, Cass County Social Services was called for a welfare check at the home of Rochelle Ulmer on July 27th. When officials got there, they found Ulmer outside with a child, stumbling, slurring her words, and smelling strongly like alcohol. Documents go on to say that Ulmer urinated herself while walking with social workers into her home. Officials found 2 empty beer cans in the trash can and a nearly empty wine cooler bottle. Documents say a sobriety field test found Ulmer to be clearly impaired and not in any condition to provide proper care for the kids. At the time, Ulmer was responsible for 9 kids between the ages of 1 and 8. Ulmer is being set to be back in court again on November 7th. Also, some new information for you tonight. A suspect in the 2017 murder of 22-year-old Savannah Graywind pleaded guilty to 2 of the 3 charges he's facing in Cass County District Court today. William Hain pleaded guilty to kidnapping and providing false information to police in relation to the death of Graywind. Hain will still stand trial in mid-September for conspiracy to commit murder. Brooke Cruz pleaded guilty in late 2017 and is now serving a life sentence for the murder of Graywind. Savannah Graywind was 8 months pregnant when Cruz cut open her womb and took her baby. Her body was found at the Red River in August of 2017. Police are investigating after a man was assaulted at a gas station in Fargo this afternoon. It all happened just after 1:30 at the PetroServe gas station on the corner of NP Avenue and 2nd Street North. A caller reported a robbery. That's when police and an ambulance responded to an assault. According to authorities, the victim was taken to the hospital with what appear to be non-life-threatening injuries.
We're here today to share with you the recovery of one of the most significant and cherished pieces of movie memorabilia in American history.
Looking behind the curtain, we can see she's referring to those famous ruby slippers from the 1939 movie The Wizard of Oz. The missing pair was recently recovered, proving there's no place like home, even for the shoes themselves. Those slippers were stolen from the Judy Garland Museum in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, 13 years ago. Valley News Team's Rose Itzkovitz has the latest on the shoes' reappearance and a possible connection to North Dakota. Rose?
Yeah, Christine, these shoes were stolen right around this time back in 2005. So many of us were holding our breath to find out where exactly these shoes were recovered. Well, officials left us hanging on that, saying it's still a very, very active investigation. But what we do know is the Grand Rapids Police Department had to reach outside its jurisdiction for help. Chief Scott Johnson said over the years they'd received and followed many tips in hopes of recovering the slippers, often in vain. Until more recently.
Several months ago, our police department received some information that appeared to have more credibility. This investigation took us outside the state of Minnesota. Now, municipal police departments do not have jurisdiction outside the state of Minnesota.
And that's why Chief Johnson says they enlisted the help of the FBI. But he also, as you may have just heard, mentioned the investigation took them outside the state of Minnesota. And while we don't know where they were found, the only other official at today's press conference, other than the 2 based in Minnesota, was Chris Myers. He's the U.S. Attorney for the District of North Dakota. Now, while he in no way indicated the shoes were found somewhere here in North Dakota, we're wondering why he's been active in helping with the investigation. So far, his office won't respond to our requests. Christine?
All right. Thank you, Rose. Authorities are hoping this information, while limited, will encourage the public to come forward with more information. And while there were multiple pairs of slippers used in the filming of the movie, this recently recovered pair is one of just 4 known to exist. Those clouds have been hanging around all day, and it sounds like the rain isn't quite done just yet. Robert, what can we expect this evening?
Yeah, still a bit of cloudiness, especially as you go further south and east from the Fargo-Moorhead area, off towards the north and west, more clearing skies. That's where we're going to see some mighty chilly temperatures overnight tonight. Right now in the upper 60s in Langdon and Devils Lake, 75 Grand Forks and Thief River Falls, 78 the warm spot here in Fargo. Those winds generally out of the north. They're going to stay out of the north as we head through this evening, becoming a bit lighter as we head through the overnight hours. There are the clearer skies off towards the north and west, and where we do get the clearest, that's where we're going to see the coldest of temperatures. Off toward the south and east, still seeing some showers and an occasional thunderstorm, and can't rule out an isolated funnel cloud in these areas until those showers drift on out of here. in the next couple of hours. Here in Fargo, as we head through the rest of the evening, mainly high cloudiness and temperatures cooling back down into the mid-60s by the 8 o'clock hour and into the mid to lower 60s by 9. As mentioned, a chilly night ahead. How cold do we get? And when do we get warm again? We'll let you know in just a few minutes.
Sounds good. Thank you, Robert. An inmate who was in jail under the supervision of the Beltrami County Sheriff's Department has died while in custody. This all happened this past Sunday, where authorities say 27-year-old Hardell Sherrill of Apple Valley, Minnesota, collapsed and was unresponsive around 5 in the evening. Jail staff tried life-saving efforts, but Sherrill was pronounced dead at the scene. The Bemidji Police Department, Beltrami County Coroner's Office, and Ramsey County Medical Examiner's Office are all investigating the inmate's death. A Minnesota man is being held on multiple charges after authorities say he hit a pedestrian with his car in Clay County. James Russell from Hawley was taken to jail and is facing charges of felony motor vehicle operation, leaving the scene of an accident and assault. Monday afternoon, authorities responded to the crash on Highway 9 south of 90th Avenue South in Downer. Russell's passenger was also taken into custody on an unrelated outstanding warrant. There's no word yet on the condition of the person who was hit. Is it a matter of safety or just plain spying on your kids? It's a discussion for the 21st century. Keeping track of your kids electronically. Some parents do it, but some say it's the wrong thing to do. Valley News Team's Melanie Palmer digs into those arguments.
Growing up, middle school, high school, I probably wouldn't like it as much.
It's nice to be able to check and know, like, when your kid gets home from school, know that they are where they say they are.
It's becoming a heated debate among parents.
It's convenient if you use it properly.
Brittany Phillips is a mother of one. She said she would consider tracking her child's location, but she thinks kids could find a way around it.
You could just take it off and leave it somewhere.
But what about using an app on your phone? A new study says 16% of parents do just that.
Everyone wants to track their child. Everyone wants to have something in there in case they disappear.
You could say Don Fisher is an expert.
You know, in Europe, these are really popular.
When it comes to keeping a close eye on someone. In fact, he's the owner of the Spy Shop in Fargo. And he tells us in recent years, more parents are coming in looking for ways to keep track of their kids.
A lot of times if they're teenagers and they have their license and they're driving, then they'll come in and look at GPS trackers for the vehicle.
And that's why Don sells a lot of these GPS trackers.
They're pretty easy and convenient and covert.
But he says parents are always looking for ways to do it on their cell phones. And he tells us a lot of the apps you can find have to be consensual, meaning your child would know that you're tracking their location. But some parents are asking, should you be tracking your kids or teenagers in the first place? Research shows teenagers who feel like they're being monitored by parents sometimes disable location features or try to spoof with a GPS by leaving their phone at a friend's house. In Fargo, Melanie Palmer, Valley News Live.
Else worth mentioning is a lot of these local tech places we called tell us they don't know a lot about these apps. They say they're just starting to gain popularity now than in previous years. Other parents we talked to today tell us they think it's useful to be able to track their kids' location, all in case of an emergency. We do have an update for you on the National Veteran Cemetery opening near Harwood, North Dakota. As you can see, construction is in full swing. Despite earlier reports that the cemetery would be 1 year behind schedule in its opening, more recently we heard it was back on track. And the VA says that's still the case as it's set to open this coming spring or summer. We spoke to a member of the construction company on site today who tells us it's all weather dependent.
It's kind of a new thing for us because we're kind of based in the south. So this northern weather, snow was still on the ground when we wanted to start, so that pushed everything back a month. But everybody's working real hard, putting in extra hours to get everything opened up on time.
The construction company tells us they could be finished as early as November, but more likely will be working until March. And the VA says further steps will have to be taken after construction is finished before they can officially open the cemetery. A bittersweet day in Moorhead as its public schools recorded a record 6,987 students in grades K through 12. That's 286 more students than last year's opening enrollment. But this record comes amid road congestion outside Moorhead High. Construction on the underpass at 20th and 21st Street is cutting off some access to the school. There's also no outlet to the south parking lot, so parents are being asked to pick up students on the north side of the school. There are also lane closures both north and south of the construction zone. The underpass project is expected to take about 2 years to finish. Hockey fans once again will have the chance to enjoy the Fargo Force in the comfort of their own home this season, especially when they can't make it out for a game at Shields Arena. The Fargo Force and Valley News Live announcing this year's broadcast schedule today. Now, in all, 5 games will be broadcast on MeTV during the 2018-19 season as part of a 3-year partnership we announced last year. The defending Clark Cup champions open their season October 5th at Shields Arena and live on MeTV. Scammers are conning home buyers out of their own down payment. What you should watch out for is still ahead tonight.